it's a hurricane, it's over. Before you know it, we're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights for the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high for the glory. We do it for the glory.
And welcome back, Summoners, to the Garena LOL Varsity League 2018 Spring Playoffs. So, we are gonna be your casters for today. I'm Mark Tick, and ikaw, kamusta ka na, Chisto?
Okay lang ako. Okay lang ako. After that very thrilling best of 5 between AMA, QC, and UST Teletyres. UST showing us why they are the defending champions, completing the reverse sweep, not an easy feat to pull off, especially considering the start that AMA had. But they just were resilient towards the end. They just ran away with that game 5 after a pretty even start. They just absolutely stomped AMA after.
Gotta give kudos to UST Teletigers, kasi iba yung, imagine the willpower and how strong a mentality you need just so that you don't tilt after losing out on 2 pretty convincing games from AMA University. So, very well deserved. So, looks like we're going to be seeing Teletigers in the finals. But of course, what's a bit of a different thing here is that for this particular term, makakita tayo ng isa sa tatlo nating bagong team ang makapasok potentially sa ating finals. Of course, it's going to be either, since Adamson University unfortunately fell to DLSU. It's actually been from quarterfinals to semifinals, yung talagang naglalaban yung mga bagong teams natin for that last final slot. Of course, this time around, it's gonna be DLSU versus Bulacan State University. Pero, gaya nga na nakita natin sa schedule, kakatapos lang ng UST versus AMA. Ngayon naman ang BULSU at DLSU. UST Teletigers already sitting comfortably sa kanilang final spot, of course. And this best of 5 match will determine kung sino ang makakatapat ng UST.
Yeah, and considering this matchup, I think nasabi ko to earlier when I was with Vulcan, comparing the UST-AMA match to this one, I think BULSU and DLSU, when comparing skill levels, is a bit of a closer matchup compared to our earlier semifinal. But it looks like we're gonna head straight into pick and ban, guys. BULSU blue side against DLSU on the red side. Camille right out of the gate here, removed by Bulacan State University.
Yes, Camille gonna be that first off break, but Shen, of course, in exchange as well. So I'm not really surprised by a Shen ban, because the interesting thing about going up against Bulacan State University is meron talagang mga definitive bans na usually napupunta sa kanila. Shen, of course, one of them usually can be the Cho'Gath as well, banned away from Chris. So it's not usually the same scenario na gaya ng ibang teams na it could be more on kung ano yung talagang angat sa meta ngayon. But for Bulacan State University, it's more so respect bans.
Yeah, and so far, majority of the bans here are targeted towards the top side. So magpipinch pareha si Chris at si Karna. The only variation is Rakan is denied here from Ralph, so DLSU not wanting to deal with that engage. But the largest question for me, Arctic, sa game na to, will we see a marksman from both teams? Kasi nung huling series, nung UST tsaka AMA, for the love of marksman, talagang nagdadasal ako na makita yung marksman. But BULSU are currently hovering the Vladimir here, which is a really strong flex pick in my opinion. Can be top lane, can go bot lane, can also be mid lane. So a lot of possibilities here by BULSU, but that's gonna be imitated here by DLSU because Irelia, like I mentioned on Vladimir, can basically go anywhere she wants.
Naalala ko yung unang season na medyo nagiging angat yung mga flex picks when you had the times where Nautilus was a flex pick, Randall was a flex pick. But this patch particularly took flex picks to a whole new level. Oh my goodness.
Especially back then, nung binanggit mong time na yun, you only had 3 bans. Now, we only had 6 bans total. Now we have 10 total. So it enables teams to sort of strategize more when it comes to pick and ban phase. But it looks like for the jungle role, walang flex pick tong BULSU. Straight into the Nocturne here for Yesh, one of the really good junglers at the moment, having that paranoia, having that global can really assist your team when it comes to those mid-game skirmishes.
Doesn't take rocket science to figure out where this Nocturne is going unless may kakaibang gagawin ng Bulacan State University. But then again, Yesh is probably one of those players na very comfortable running this particular champion. Meanwhile, Bulacan State University also opting for a Morgana. So of course, by history, we think that this is, I mean, probably if there's one player in the LVL which has the highest pick percentage for a Morgana,
probably Rab,
without a doubt.
Possibly one of his main champions, but looks like we'll know for sure which junglers are going to be played by both teams. I don't want to assume that the Lucian is immediately going to go over to Comte. Could still go towards the mid lane. And the Irelia as well, we never know where she might go, but for sure, the junglers for this game will be the Nocturne against the Graves.
Yes, very definitive. Still, rest kind of remains to be uncertain. Meanwhile, going into the phase 2 of Pans here, heavier emphasis towards the top side again, really pinching out Chris's pool here from DLSU. In exchange, of course, a little bit more power, focus on tad bit onto Karna as well, assuming that Aurelia will be going either mid lane or bot lane.
And there it is, Arctic. You did mention that teams who tend to ban the Cho'Gath away from Chris, one of his signature champions, will be denied here. The final ban actually for BULSU will be that Zoe not wanting Spring to have that assassination potential in the mid lane. Karma is locked in here for DLSU. How will Bulacan State University respond? They are looking for an AD carry if they want to go that route. Malphite is the hover. This is interesting. We don't see that much Malphite, but when we do, we know team fights are going to start. They're going to happen. Let's just hope that whoever is running this pick doesn't miss his ultimates.
Out of curiosity, because admittedly, I'm the type of guy that because of a busy schedule as well, I don't really get to watch most of the international games, but I know you're really big on watching a lot of the different scenes. But has Malphite in any way made its way in other regions, or is this something for Bulacan State particularly?
Malphite has seen competitive play during the current competitive season. It's very rare, but when teams do pick him, it's usually as a counter to a specific matchup where they just want to have that reliable engage, just a way to start fights. So Malphite definitely not an alien to competitive play, but okay, the Singe here locked in. Will be going to Karna in the top lane. Singe is one of those picks that if the teams watching the LVL earlier noticed, Karna tends to play Singe a lot.
Oh yeah.
Will be played here in the top lane, so I guess the Irelia can either go mid or bot, depending on which matchups DLSU decide to go for, but I'd very much want to see Comte on an AD carry. During the one game he played na Wukong gamit niya, he was playing the Bruiser bot lane, which has been rising in popularity. I really didn't feel like Comte was comfortable at all, so I'd want to see him on that Lucian. We're just gonna have to wait and see what DLSU decides to bring to the table here.
Speaking of what they bring to the table, still quite uncertain how these switcheroos are going in terms of picks, but I actually wouldn't be as surprised if this is gonna be an Aurelia for the bot lane and just leave the Lucian to Spring.
Spring can definitely play the Lucian. He has the mechanics for it, but like I mentioned, I'd be very happy to see Comte on an AD carry instead of a Bruiser. I think it just fits him better. But looking at these final swap arounds, it looks like this will be the final lock-ins for both teams. BULSU, they've brought in a lot of engage here, a lot of run at DLSU and just kill them straight up. There's not much disengage on their team, but there's a lot of engage and starting fights by just running straight at DLSU.
Bakbakan kung bakbakan, basically, looking at the composition that Bulacan State University has. Always going to try to look for those fights, especially once we hit a point into the game where ultimates are up and available for especially players like Chris and Yesh running the Malphite and Nocturne respectively. But nonetheless, ayan na nga po mga kaibigan, we'll be talking about Virtus Arcus' composition in a little later on once we head on to the game. But of course, for the meantime, given the picks from both sides, let us know syempre kung saan man kayo nanonood, whether it be Facebook Live or gaming.youtube.com/pagegarena/live, kung sino ang sinusuportan niyo dito. Syempre, hashtag BULSU win ba or hashtag DLSU win. Pero ang pinaka-excited ako syempre is makakita tayo ng isa sa mga bago nating team na makakapasok dito sa finals. I think it's pretty much known by everybody that I lean towards BULSU a bit more, but DLSU definitely one of the teams that I think, okay, realistically, I'd actually peg DLSU as a favorite to head to the finals here.
Yeah, guys, kung hindi nyo alam, fun fact lang, taga Bulacan si Arctic. So, kung maging bias siya towards Bulacan State University, it's no surprise. It should be something that we know, but Esper gonna be forced out of his jungle here. Get the ward, yes!
Yes, was able to get vision. But of course, unfortunately, mission abort for Bulacan State University. Gonna get
Ward.
Oh, one more. Okay. Not bad, not bad. It's like a mini game in a way na abangan mo, okay, mapapabagsak kaya ng Bulacan State University yung version nila. Pero, kung ako taga Bulacan, balita ko ikaw, Chisto, idol na idol mo si Comte.
Oh, idol,
as a marksman.
idol ko si Comte bilang marksman. Kaya nga malungkot ako na na Irelia yung gamit ni Comte. Feeling ko, mas magaling talaga siya mag-marksman. Yung range, hindi siya pwede mag-melee. Di pwede.
Pero tingnan natin, maybe he'll make you proud heading into this game. Maybe.
But if he does disappoint me either way, I still like him as a player.
Pero, okay, so you've heard the clear Bulacan State University versus De La Salle University rivalry on the caster.
Alam nyo na guys, magkahiwalay kami ng gusto manalo ni Arctic dito. Talagang BULSU gusto niya manalo, ako La Salle. Pero we'll see how this game pans out as Esper just gonna start his red buff. BULSU do know this, so they can adjust accordingly. Can avoid the possible early gank by the Graves, though. I wouldn't see both these junglers ganking fairly early, Arctic, because we know Graves as a jungler tends to farm a lot, whereas the Nocturne wants to wait for that level 6.
Yeah, Esper are definitely gonna have a faster time with this Graves, though, regardless. So that's the interesting thing, though. Oh, meanwhile, Ignite gonna be popped onto Flash Spring. Flashes in for that last auto attack. Won't be enough, though. Vial looks like he'll be surviving to tell the tale, in which case Flash is down for him, though. But in exchange, Spring expended both summoners.
Yeah, and actually the tower saved Vial in a sense there, because the tower did take down the minion, which gave Vial level 2, giving him enough HP to survive the Ignite, the final auto attack as well from Spring. That was a lot of luck on the Vial's side, but still an aggressive move by Spring. And I think that's the way you need to play Lucian mid. You need to play aggressively. You don't sit back and farm on Lucian. You want to push your advantages.
Meanwhile, looking towards this bot side here, so one thing I'm actually pleasantly surprised to see is Empyrean running of all champions a Sivir, because if you're going to look at the history, I usually tend to pick on Empyrean, particularly because there's certain games where he gets picked off a lot, more because he wants to go for highlight reels. But when you're running a Sivir, you don't really have as much of that flashy potential. But okay, that's going to be Exhaust being popped up right now. Take now Esper coming in from the side. Empyrean forced to flash away, but that is actually first blood going on to Comte. Meanwhile, more kills happening towards this mid lane here. Surprise, surprise. I was actually expecting casualties from the side of BULSU, but it's actually DLSU that suffers too themselves.
Yeah, Comte, that's why I said I prefer if he was playing a ranged champion, he goes all in onto Empyrean, but not enough damage to take down the Saver. But what happened in the mid lane there, alam ng BULSU na walang summoners si Spring after his level 2 all in onto the Vladimir. He doesn't respect the fact that Yesh could easily path towards the mid lane. They pick up a kill. Already 2-0 up here is BULSU.
Yeah, meanwhile, looking here towards the top side, Chris and Karna, a little bit of scuffle between these two champions here. Kaya mukhang pareho silang medyo nasa lower side ng HP, pero nag-start na rin mag-generate. But definitely a lot more working for Karna because he still has a stack up in his potion amidst Chris already chugging his, starting off with a Doran shield.
Yeah, eventually we're gonna see Karna build those Dark Seals, which synergize well with the Corrupting Pot. Gonna probably stack 2 to 3 of those. And the sustain from the Cinch will be quite annoying to deal with, so Chris has to be ready for that. Yes, just gonna clear the rest of his jungle here.
Yes, a little bit of a clear towards that bot lane. Looks like Ralph gonna have things covered in terms of vision as well by dropping a control ward in that Drive Rush. Meanwhile, so far, so good for Bulacan State University in terms of the kill game. Still, DLSU, there's a lot that they can work with given the composition that they have, and just like that, Spring gonna get a lot of damage onto Vial once again. Gonna ideally want to try to heal that up with the wave that pushed in onto him naturally.
You know, actually, Arctic, while not much is happening in the game, let's go ahead and talk about the composition that DLSU has, because we discussed BULSU's comp during the pick and ban phase. We were able to highlight that this comp tends to run at the opponent because they have the Saver for the speed up, they have the Malphite to dive in, Nocturne as well. It's generally a team comp that wants to just engage onto your team but not disengage from you. But going over, comparing that to what DLSU has during the draft, for me it feels like they went kind of all over the place, while it's not as direct of a strategy compared to BULSU. Yeah, they have champions that snowball. Yeah, they have champions that scale quite well towards the later part of this game, but it's not really meshed into one single strategy. It feels like they've opted for this heavy lane dominance, So for DLSU, the key here for their comp is wanting to win the laning phase, which is very important. But the fact that they are currently down 2 kills during this early laning phase kind of hurts their win conditions.
Yeah, meanwhile, Chris, a little bit of a struggle for him here towards the top side, forced to back away amidst Karna, still looking very healthy in terms of health, in terms of mana. No need for him to back away anytime soon. But meanwhile, while Yesh was up towards the top side, Esper actually lingering towards this mid lane in exchange, but will just back away for now, actually.
Yeah, Chris did pick up the Spectre Scowl, will help him sustain a bit longer against this Singed. You know, normally Malphite is picked into those AD matchups, but unfortunately, Chris has to deal with the Singed. It's not a very happy Malphite. He will be, though, once he gets his ultimate, which is already up. He is level 6, but yeah, I did mention, once he does land those, he'll be quite happy.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting here, though, is that I was expecting that since Chris is constantly pressured up towards
Chris
the top.
and Yesh.
Yes, Chris and Yesh. Man, it's like you have to avoid those H's whenever you switch between names of members of Bulacan State University. But yeah, as I was saying, what I'm somewhat surprised by is that if you're going to look at Chris, mostly at the short end of the stick towards those trades towards the top side, but earlier looking at the CS was still equal. I mean, right now it's understandable that he has that lead because Karna has backed away, but I was expecting that if anything, Karna would actually have the lead in CS over Chris, in which case.
But it seems like he hasn't been lasted in quite well. It's quite difficult to actually last it on the Cinch with his Q. You have to rely on the poison. You have to watch those ticks, but Chris is actually up in levels. I think the CS will be evened out once Karna catches this wave that is pushing towards him. I believe Chris saw that. I think... Wait, if he warded over there, did he?
Okay, probably... No, he's actually still lingering here. So I think Esper...
Oh, he's baiting.
Pretty much safe in. Oh, but
look at Yesh.
It's lingering. It's like watching National Geographic right now. Silently watching the prey.
Oh, have you watched Planet Earth, Arctic? It's a great series, actually. The narration is great. You get to learn about nature. But right now, we're watching League of Legends.
Yeah, let's watch how players in Bulacan State University and DLSU play in their natural habitat. What? Being Summoner's Rift, but oh my goodness.
Kasi natural habitat nga ba nila?
Oh, good question. Good.
Ano nga bang natural habitat ng isang League of Legends player, Arctic? Let's figure it out as we go along this best of 5.
We'll figure out the deepest mysteries of collegiate esports right now.
We're gonna learn about that a lot. I mean, considering how we've both worked in the collegiate esports scene.
Oh yeah.
We know a lot considering history. We've met a lot of players who have been part of this, but we still don't know what their natural habitat is.
Yeah, whether it be Summoner's Rift, maybe a cyber cafe. We'll figure it out as we go along in this game. Very intellectual discussion that we're having here for the playoffs. Pero in all fairness naman kasi, we've reached a little bit of a still number of minutes so far. There have been attempts, but speaking of attempts, that's going to be the dive in, straight in onto Spring. Unfortunately, not able to get the full value off of the culling. Here comes Esper, though. Is he going to potentially reverse things? Here comes the rest of Bulacan State University, though. Graves forced to kind of back away. That will be the ultimate. Vial still going in, really wanting in on it. That's going to be the Sanguine pull, which secures the kill. Luckily, doesn't take a lot of turret hits in the process. Great juggle by BULSU.
Yeah, 2-0 in favor of Bulacan State University. Chris has no mana to continue this chase.
Yes.
But that's a bit of an awkward sequence for Spring. The moment he dashes in, I don't think he saw Yesh because Yesh was hiding in Fog of War. The second that the Lucian dashes in, immediately there's a Nocturne right in his face. That's a feels bad man moment for Spring if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, and you have to take note that Flash was expended for him in the process. Meanwhile, Chris might want to back away sometime soon because he's going to be eating the full poison. Still ticking down. Will he make it back in the nick of time? Force the Flash away. Karna going to go straight in. Looks like won't be enough, and that rock is going to survive to tell the tale.
Yeah, Karna, a bit of a misplay, not calculating his damage there. He did try to flash forward to secure the kill, but not enough magic damage. A Spectre Skull saving Chris's life. Goodbye right there. Gets the value of the MR against the Cinch.
Yep, gonna be A-okay. I'm surprised Chris able to roll with the punches, but finally, because of the ability build-up for Karna, makes it a bit more easier for those poison ticks to deal with the minion wave, which is why we're finally seeing the build-up that I've been looking for. 66 to 77 right now.
Yeah, but Chris will be building towards an adaptive helm mid lane though.
Oh, VL, probably not the best time to go forward there. Sanguine pull, but that's just a moment still. Constant pursuit coming in from Esper as well as Spring. Won't be enough to take him down though. Man, what is with VL and the number of lives he has?
Yeah, Esper got a bit lucky there that the Dark Bind didn't land because BULSU might have been able to turn that gank if he did juke backwards. Luckily enough, he did walk forward. Yesh has Paranoia available. And he is sitting on top of a control ward. Comte and Ventus are in range of the Paranoia. If Comte dashes in, that will signal BULSU to pull the trigger.
Yeah, looks like, well, Comte and Ventus playing a little bit more passively, not gonna allow themselves to push in. Yes, okay, so unfortunately Dark Binding doesn't land. We'll have to back away for now.
Okay, Ralph is kind of selling the gank a bit too much there by stepping forward. Comte and Ventus can kind of tell that something's up. Here comes the Paranoia.
Yes, that's going to be the Paranoia. They go straight in. Now on a killing spree. Are they going to try to go for Comte next? Yes, that'll be the case. Double kill going to the jungler of Bulacan State University. Wow, what a play.
Yeah, they know something's up right there. Top lane though, Karna is going for the all-in onto Chris. Not going to find that much since Chris is pretty tanky already on this fight, but the action isn't stopping our mid lane.
Yes, man, action happening right now. Looks like Vial dealing with it 2v2, but looks like Teleport was actually cancelled out. Vial will actually manage to survive to tell the tale. Looks like that will be the case. Spring is low on mana. Won't be able to go for further pursuit, so that's why there was a cancel. Oh, it could have been Karna canceling out as well. Knock up coming in. Chris still looking very healthy on mana. Could still further pursue. Gonna get flinged back, so looks like Karna will escape just fine.
Yeah, I think Karna got a bit lucky there. Not enough cooldowns yet onto Chris. One more seismic shard could have meant that Chris would get the kill onto Karna, but looking at the bot lane though, look at what work Yesh has done throughout this game. Already 4-0-0, 4 out of the 6 kills that BULSU has. The Nocturne doing so much work during this early game.
Yeah, that's actually the pleasant surprise for me. And this build-up didn't necessarily need to start with Yesh having access to his ultimate. Just these aggressive plays wherein DLSU thinks that they could get these pickups earlier from Spring, trying to go into VL. Little did they know Yesh was in the vicinity as a result of his loss of summoners, making him an easier target. So even just those small things eventually building up. And it's just scarier to think now that Yesh has his ultimate, what further plays Bulacan State University can go for this early game, and whether or not they could continue to build up on that advantage. Because 6-0, definitely a great way to go, but still, for DLSU at least, goal difference isn't as heavy as you would expect despite this.
Yeah, I did mention Yesh does have this lead. Already picked up the stopwatch, so he does have that one get out of jail free card if he does get in trouble. I'd want to see him go for the rush build here on the Nocturne, where you go Warrior Enchantment straight into the Guardian Angel so that you constantly keep diving at your opponent and you're not afraid of dying because you know you have that extra life. But speaking of items being built right here, I'd like to point out the Stormrazor being built by Empyrean. I believe the Furious, since... Oh, I'll have to hold that on. Stop lane.
Dive in right there onto Karna. Great consistent damage coming off of Bulacan State University. Great hold as well, which allows them to rake up yet another kill. Meanwhile, looks like Chris actually dealing and rolling with the punches quite well. 3 members of DLSU here towards the bottom side, still in constant pursuit. Chris still almost, but goes down. Compte will secure the kill. DLSU not suffering casualties themselves and will award themselves with a cherry on top, being the outer turret in this bot lane.
Yeah, a bit too much damage there for Chris to deal with. Remember, he was building magic resist for the lane, but all the damage coming his way right there was physical damage. But I don't think that was a worth it trade for DLSU. They only pick up a kill onto the Malphite, but there's a lot of damage. And look at that, already 50% on the inhibitor turret in top lane for BULSU. Before even 15 minutes, BULSU just takes everything off of the map in one fell swoop. Really well played.
Everything they wanted and more, and just like that. Actually, bit of a gold build-up for BULSU, but we'll just have to see. Let's go ahead and check out where the rest of the LSU is standing right now. So, I mean, with just one kill, of course, naturally, nobody would really have a proper KDA at this point in the game versus the 7 kills that Bulacan State University managed to rake up. But I guess the positive thing working for them here is that the concentrate of kills is mostly directed towards Yesh. Not really much of a heavier snowball leaning towards VL. Empyrean, so-so with a 203. I mean, 203 definitely better than a 1-2 for Comte. But basically, the bottom line here is that it's not wherein the entirety of Bulacan State University has gone on to a full-on snowball. Still, other members which DLSU can still manage, such as Chris, for example.
Oh yeah, Arthur, I definitely agree that you wouldn't want to be the team that has 1 kill if the enemy team has 7. It's not a great spot to be in. I'd like to go back and talk about the Storm Razor first item of Empyrean. I believe the theory is, since Storm Razor allows you to have that guaranteed crit, Sivir's Ricochet always crits. I mean, if your first Ricochet attack crits, the rest of the bounces also have crit in them, so that might be the theory behind it. Allows them to shove the waves even faster, and Sivir's been that marksman that always likes building critical chance, even though crit hasn't been the best stat. So top lane, we're gonna see another dive in by Yesh.
Yes, knockup unfortunately misses, which allows Karna to walk it off a bit. Yesh and Chris unfortunately eat up a lot of poison in the process. Chris gonna try to slow down Karna, but Karna just way too fast there. Didn't see that coming. Double kill for the Graves.
Yeah, a bit of a fumble there by Bulacan State University. Yesh is super squishy on this Nocturne. Did buy that Dustblade first item. You try and go for the assassination onto the Cinch. You don't take him down. Esper there for the response. He just gets popped, exploded by the collateral damage.
Ooh, that was so unfortunate. You have to take note, Chris, not necessarily the fastest champion on the Rift so far. Only has the basic boots. Still yet to level up to tier 2. So, I don't know. That was a tad bit of an overreach in the top lane.
That's why they have Sivir.
Exactly. Oh, that's true, actually.
Yeah, you don't need to buy boots. You just need to stick to your tier 1s. Sivir helps you close the gap, and then Chris ults. Everything falls apart for DLSU. I mean, that's the plan for Bulacan State University. They want to start fights. They want to engage. But what I want to see is for them to group up as 5.
True. Actually, like, as you were bringing it up, that kind of brings the question to me as, okay, we're already 17 minutes in the game. We're yet to see Bulacan State University take full advantage of the position that they have. It's mostly been the smaller projects in the top lane, in the bot lane, where they're not necessarily grouped up. Come on, I'd love to see that full 5 gang on full 5 initiate rather onto DLSU.
Yeah, and I think right now the issue that DLSU is facing is, I did mention their comp strategy or win condition was a bit too all over the place for me. It felt like they picked for the laning phase, but afterwards it was a bit random, where they didn't have that big full-on engage. They didn't necessarily have the team that could siege down towers or take the Baron. So it relied heavily on all 3 lanes winning heavily. But since they got out of laning phase fairly even or even behind, DLSU really aren't controlling the pace of this game. They're basically following what BULSU dictates them to do.
And that's actually an interesting point that you brought up there, because that brings me back to, if DLSU has drafted something that leans towards ideally building up in the earlier phase, just the laning phase, then that's pretty awkward, because if there's one thing that Bulacan State University is known for, is having that power early game and finding themselves awkward as we lean in on towards this mid game. But so far, as you mentioned, in this mid game, it's mostly been Bulacan State University having a better tempo than what DLSU is showing. Speaking of tempo, DLSU...
We're gonna see a paranoia here. We already see the TP from the Malphite.
Yep, and that's gonna be... Look at the damage going on to Esper. Yesh gonna mission abort right there. Gonna turn to Comte, who was caught in the middle of all of that knockup coming in. 2 members of DLSU will be the next priority here. Esper goes down. Looks like the culling gonna be forced by Spring here. Tries to go on to Yesh. Yesh looking very low though. That's gonna be the poison ticking down. Ventus gonna try to walk his way out of there. Meanwhile, the rest of Bulacan State University are going to try to pursue Karna. And Brian, we're going to have to cancel, but the poison is just too painful for him to deal with in what ends in a 3-4-2. Bulacan State University barely winning that fight.
Yeah, 3-for-2 in favor of Bulacan State University. They did pick up the kills onto Comte and Spring, which is good for BULSU, but I think since Karna was able to take down Empyrean in the end, BULSU won't be able to threaten any towers.
True.
They will get a lot of chip damage though onto this mid lane tier 2.
Not as much though. Comte already making his way towards this mid lane, so DL ideally want to back away sometime soon. Like you mentioned, just a few chips here and there onto the turret. Somewhat workable. We'll just back away for now. The Comte though, looks like I'm going to try to pursue, just going to scare Vial off there.
It must be pretty nice though, Arctic, that you're seeing Bulacan State University being hurt. I can sort of tell that you're trying to hold back on showing your elation that BULSU is up over the team that beat our defending champions during the group stage.
To be honest, I'm not really as excited, but only because
I get that sense where you don't want to get excited so that you don't get disappointed.
That's actually a fair point. But I think one of the reasons why I'm not overly like head in the clouds right now over Bulacan State University is the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the kills are focused on Tiesh. So I feel like there's still a lot of ways wherein there's a number of things that could go wrong. And I think earlier the fact that Yesh went down so early and Bulacan State University wasn't able to go for a full cleanup, that just goes to show that there's still those awkward tendencies in the mid-game wherein still a few trips here and there. Although luckily they are leading, but just by more than a little over 2,000. So that's not really a sizable. And that in effect still grants a lot of room, a lot of leeway for DLSU to easily bounce back into this game, finding that right opportunity.
And also, it's only game 1.
Yeah.
You don't want to get overly excited after a game 1 lead in the best of 5 because
True.
We saw the previous series, they went all the way 5 games. So we don't know for sure how the series will end up, but right now it's very much looking like Bulacan State University are controlling the LaSalle State University Verdes Arcos.
Yeah, meanwhile, looks like DLSU starting to linger around this Dragon area. Gonna make a transition towards the bot lane though. Gonna make sure Spring deals with that wave. But we are seeing a bit of a convergence here towards Baron. Take note. And, okay, it's actually Karna that'll probably be the first to check this out, but will the rest of the LSU respond in time? That's a bit of a question right now. Oh, could still potentially go for a steal. That is going to be the ultimate procced up. Still, Bulacan State University managed to get that Baron. Beautiful knockup coming in from Chris, dealing with Ventus as well as Esper. Not able to deal the damage that they ideally would have. Spring a little bit in too late for the party, going to get slowed down, but will manage to dash his way out in what ends in a 1-4-3 in favor of Bulacan State University, plus the Baron. Sobrang sulit.
Yeah, Bulacan State University takes everything right there. They saw the Lucian go towards the bot lane to push it out. They knew that Spring is not running that teleport, so essentially it would have been a 4v5 on that side of the map. They make the decisive call. Team, let's go rush the Baron. And afterwards, when DLSU decide to check this, they don't check it properly with vision. They get turned on by the Malphite, and now they're gonna lose their mid lane inhibitor tower.
Yes, unfortunately for Bulacan State University, rest will Swan and Nitify. Let's go and check out this fight though.
Alright, so the primary reason of why BULSU decides to go for this is because they know this is a 4v5, and the moment the Baron goes down, DLSU shouldn't even be near this bit. The turn from Chris is beautiful. He lands a 3-man unstoppable force. And BULSU just turns, picks up a bunch of kills onto DLSU. No response, nothing even traded on the side of DLSU.
That was a disgusting tactic coming in from Bulacan State University. So the fact that as soon as Yesh pushed for his ultimate, Chris in the midst of all that darkness decides to go full on initiate. It's like literally DLSU never really saw what was coming.
Yeah, it's like nakapikit sila.
Yeah, exactly.
And then binato mo sila ng kahit anong bagay man. Probably something hard. Chris is playing Malphite, so he's Mecha Malphite though, so I don't know exactly what object was tossed at them. Something metal.
Some kind of thermonuclear, I don't know, some kind of out of this world.
Nakapikit kasi binato ka ng cellphone.
ng Nokia.
Yeah, 3310. Para solid. But that's basically what it feels like to get comboed by the Nocturne Malphite. You can't see the ult coming. It's a very scary situation, and come to think of it, Arctic, once you see the paranoia come, normally your first response would be to stick with the rest of your team. You clump up so that when the Nocturne dives, you can focus him down. But when you clump up, it gives Chris this massive target to ult down on, and you saw it right there.
That's some crazy micro mind game that Bulacan State University is playing, in which case, now that you pointed out. So let's go ahead and see, though. DLSU, they are on the defense right now. Gonna try to turtle it out a bit. Bulacan State University, just a tad bit more. DLSU needs to hang in for a few more till Baron expends. Luckily, Bulacan State University not able to get the full value off of this buff.
Yeah, Bulacan State University are well and truly in control of this game 1. They are up 7,000 gold now. They are controlling where they want to siege, as you can see the gold right here for the players. Basically, everyone on BULSU is ahead of their matchup except for Chris, because he got the short end of the stick. He's not getting any CS as this Malphite. He's still very, very relevant to his team though. All he needs to do really on Malphite is press R, and as long as it lands, onto any member of DLSU, BULSU's happy. They're smiling as long as the Sabal Force lands now.
Very straightforward. Very straightforward strategy for Bulacan State University, but so far, based on the results, proving to be very effective. Sometimes the simplest things, no need to complicate things.
Yeah. That's why most relationships fail.
Oh!
To keep,
That's actually a good point.
yeah, but there's no other way to spin it, Arctic. It's a simple strategy. You pick the Malphite, you press R onto the enemy champions, you knock them up in the air, and then the rest of BULSU just piles on and decides who gets to die first, because at this point, really, look, BULSU is trying to split up DLSU, and the only play DLSU has at this point is to engage in one of the 3 split up members. Like, we go on to Vial, okay, he's gonna Sanguine pull away, probably flash out and survive. Let's go on to Chris. Oh, he's too tanky. The rest of BULSU can collapse with the Nocturne and the Sivir speed ups. We go on to 3-man team. Vial and Chris are gonna destroy the rest of our inhibitors. So DLSU are basically running out of options. This is very much looking like a game 1 victory for Bulacan State University.
Yeah, but so far, I mean, looking at Bulacan State University, actually everybody's looking pretty good at this time around. Chris, at some point, has already started to make up for lost ground from earlier at a 0. He was playing at around 0-0 earlier, but of course, started realizing a lot more of his value once we hit those bigger team fights, naturally, as the Malphite. So, luckily for DLSU, though, they have a little bit of breathing room now that Baron buff is down. Not to mention, they didn't lose out on any inhibitor, so they don't need to worry about any naturally heavy minion waves pushing in the bot lane or the mid lane.
You know, Arctic, I feel like if you're playing Malphite and you're behind, but the rest of your team is ahead, you're not really behind. All you need to do is be useful in the team fight, just tank some stuff, possibly ult some people, and you've done your job, you've done your role to the team. It doesn't really feel like he's behind in CS or his KDA is bad, because he's fulfilling what he was picked for.
You know, that kind of brings me way back to our days on Emperor Esports, wherein we faced a team, top lane was a deficiency, put him on a Scion.
Why is that so shady?
It's not shady.
Why would you say...
It's the same logic. It's the same logic.
I said if you're behind. I didn't say if you're a deficiency to your team.
No.
No, I didn't. No, we spun.
It's the same logic behind.
Rory, kung nanonood ka. Sorry na
Shout
lang.
out to Rory. Anyway, going into this team fight right here, DLSU. Actually, okay, so luckily Resurrection for Yesh will
There's
the
the
second
Malphite.
life, and that will be the Chris zoning out the rest of the LSU. Now on the escape right now, and looks like it's only Ventus and Esper that'll keep the dream alive for DLSU for game 1. Luckily, Esper was able to take down Chris though, but still, that goes to say BULSU still heavy on numbers. They can go for a finish here.
Yeah, who cares about KDR? You look at how much work Chris did during that fight. Yes, just buys time for him to teleport with his Guardian Angel. The moment the Malphite arrives, just ults the backline. If there is any backline of DLSU, and just like that, one team fight, Bulacan State University is going to go up 1-0 in this best of 5 semifinal.
Yes, congratulations, Bulacan State University. Battle won. Can they win the war? We'll have to find out in a teeny tiny bit. But for the meantime, gotta feel good about themselves.
Not just, I mean, I think you pretty much feel good about that win, Arctic.
Yeah.
So Arctic feels good about that win. Pretty sure Bulacan State University feel good about going up 1-0 in this semi-final, trying to set up that clash against UST during that final game. But I feel like if we want to break down, talk about what happened in the game, just from start to finish, really, Yesh set his teammates up for success. He ganked for his mid lane, he ganked for his bot lane, he ganked top lane once and died, so he never went back there. He told Chris like, okay, just ult whenever he teleport to his fights, and since the rest of the lanes for BULSU won, that's why they're up 1-0.
And let's go ahead and talk about what went wrong there, because to be honest, like I mentioned, my heart would ideally like to see BULSU win, but by logic, I think DLSU would take the series.
Okay, one thing I'd like to see from DLSU is if they're gonna play Comte, put him on an AD carry. I feel like it's a way more appropriate role for him. Like, put him on a marksman. There are viable marksmen on this patch, believe it or not. They're still at Ezreal. He can't play Ezreal. There's still the Kaisa. Lucian could have easily went to Comte in the bot lane. So if they're gonna continue moving forward with Comte, put him on marksman instead of these bruiser/mage bot lanes.
Yes, so I don't know, man. We'll just have to see could potentially flex between subs, but we're yet to find out if DLSU is even going to get the opportunity to field Miramo today. We'll find out in a little while as the night goes along. But for the meantime, ladies and gents, that has been Game 1 for today. Congratulations to BULSU. But like I mentioned, just one battle. Don't want to breathe a sigh of relief just yet because we still have a number of games to go depending on how the flow of things turns out. But like I mentioned, quick break muna tayo. I've been your casters, Arctic Andy Service. Kasama ko si Chisto at ito ang 2018 LOL Varsity League Spring Playoffs. Kita-kits for game number 2 ng match number 2. Yup, and that's gonna be, look at the damage going on to Esper. Yesh gonna mission abort right there, gonna turn to Comte, who was caught in the middle of all of that knockup coming in. 2 members of the LSU will be the next priority here. Esper goes down. Looks like the culling gonna be forced by Spring here. Tries to go on to Yesh. Yesh looking very low. That's gonna be the poison ticking down. Ventus gonna try to walk his way out of there. Meanwhile, the rest of Bulacan State University are gonna try to pursue Karna. And Brian, we're gonna have to cancel, but the poison is just up. Still, Bulacan State University rather managed to get that Baron. Beautiful knockup coming in from Chris, dealing with Ventus as well as Esper, not able to deal the damage that they ideally would have. Spring a little bit in too late for the party, gonna get slowed down, but we'll manage to dash it for Yesh with the second life, and that will be the Chris zoning out the rest of the LSU. Now on the escape right now, and looks like it's only Ventus and Esper that'll keep the dream alive for the LSU for game 1. Luckily, Esper was able to take down Chris though, but still that goes to say BULSU still heavy on numbers. They can go for a finish here.
Yeah, who cares about KDR? If you look at how much work Chris did during that fight, Yes just buys time for him to teleport with his Guardian Angel. The moment the Malphite arrives, just ults the backline. If there is any backline of the LSU, and just like that, one team fight, Bulacan State University is going to go up 1-0 in this best of 5 semifinal.
Yes, congratulations, Bulacan State University. One battle, one. Can they win the war? But